Hi, in this video we're going to go through what a lesson looks like in the Learning Lab app. So this is relatively specific, like it's kind of more beginnerish, not completely introductory. Like I assume you've been looking at the app, you know the greater goal of the app, and you're ready to create lessons, and I'm going to walk through all the different elements of what's in a lesson, and also the philosophy and how things are meant to be used so you get the most use out of it. So let's first click on the gear icon in the middle of the bottom menu. This is where you create your course curriculum, and at the top are all the steps of course creation. If you have a completely new course, you won't be at the last step yet, but if you went through the previous tutorials, we've already created some content together. What you see here, let me refresh. We have already 2 levels defined. Levels are a great way of grouping things together. You want students to have goals, intermediate goals, and big goals. They want to get a sense of progress, they want to feel like the next goal is within reach. So great ways to create levels. So here we created in the first level, Introduction to Acro Yoga. The second level is going to be the experience of learning a first washing machine. That's an Acro Yoga specific term. You can see we have 3 lessons, and let's go into the bird lesson. You have a title, that's kind of obvious. You have a synopsis. The synopsis will show up in summary screens. You want to have a little bit like a sales pitch here. You want to get the student excited to like, hey, this is what the lesson's about, this is why it's fun, this is why it's meaningful. And then down here you have instructions. And you have to kind of straddle 2 opposite things here. One is, students don't want to read a lot. On the other hand, students need complete information. Like they may go in and start like, hey, I don't want to read a lot, I just want to do stuff. But then later as they run into problems, it's going to be really nice if there's maybe an FAQ section where you answer the questions like, in Acro Yoga, like, what I'm going to do with my right hand at this point. You might want to have spotting hints. So I like to start with like instructions that are just short bullet points, like 3, 5, 7 bullet points that are clear, easy to read. There's also the assumption that they'll be learning this from another student or you who already knows it. So you don't really want to write like a textbook here that explains everything. It's more like remind people on what it is, because they usually don't remember things right away, but just a few notes reminds them. And then further below, you can have like the added information like, hey, here like the extra things, because you might have some students that are gonna read this on their subway commute to class on the way back, and they are in a place where they want to learn from, but you want to structure it, like have sections with extra stuff at the bottom. Photos are really great on selling people on things, getting people excited. And graduation requirements. This requires a little bit more realizing where things are coming from. And the origin is that we've had problems where students kind of wanted to think they learned the lessons way before they learned it. Like they would do it in a very sketchy way and then say like, hey, I've done it, I want to go on to the next lesson. And they just never even learned it. They lacked the foundation and they would get really stuck, and students would get really pissed if you tell them like, no, you don't have it yet. They'll be like, no, I don't have. And this is great communication where you have graduation requirements. For bird pose, I would maybe say something like arms and legs are stacked and can hold bird for 30 seconds. And depending on the case, you might want to add more or less. And now if a student says, I already know it, and you can see they haven't gotten it, you can look at the graduation requirements and be like, can you hold it for 30 seconds? Let's get a clock out. And, then, they probably can't hold it for 30 seconds because it's really messy. And then instead of just telling them no, it tells them like, hey, here's a goal you have to get towards. Hold it for 30 seconds. Then the videos, there are 3 types of videos. The recap video, the idea is to have just 20-30 second video. The student already knows what it is, but they maybe forget about it or they just want to see it again. So my recap videos are usually super fast. I just show this is what it is, like this is how you get into bird, out of bird. I don't talk. I just show it quickly, so it doesn't burn a lot of time. And since the lesson videos, this is actually like an online video usually, it fully explains it. I assume the student is at home, on the subway, their commute. They maybe want to look what's up ahead, what they haven't learned yet. And so it really walks them through everything. They're in a place where, they're ready to absorb details. And then as they did it as a preview, before it actually came up in class, they're going to be more prepared in class. The practice video serves a different purpose. In dance, you often have to repeat things a few times. Let's say the lesson is about learning dance patterns that's 8 counts long. So you're not going to learn an 8-count pattern just because someone told you, unless you're at the professional level. But probably like most beginner students, they have to repeat it for maybe 5 minutes. So practice videos are usually, I record an entire song and it just repeats a pattern. And then at home, outside of the classroom, they can watch the video and copy it and they can do the whole pattern over and over without having to rewind like a video. They can just, show the whole song. So those are the elements that go in, you can put into a lesson. Let's take a look at how it shows up for the student. So for the student, you'll notice there's a third level. The third level are the flex lessons. Those are any lessons that you haven't assigned to any level. I can open up the first level. I see my lessons. In my case, they're green. I'm the instructor, so of course I've mastered all the lessons. But for students, you'll see some lessons that are gray, which means they haven't started on it yet. Black, which means they have practiced it, but haven't graduated yet. And green if they've graduated it. And the P and T means, P means practiced, how often they practiced it, and T how often they taught it to another student. And then if we open up the lesson, we got a beautiful cover image. And you can see how much a cover image really carries how awesome your lesson looks like. The instructions are pretty simple right now. There is a discuss tab where you can, students can ask questions or make comments. I could be like, what do I do if? Right, and then the instructor and as a student could reply to this. Showcase is a really great thing. It allows a student to upload a video of what they just did, of, this is a bird lesson, so they can upload a video of their bird, and then other students can see it. And also if they do the same lesson again in a month, they can upload it as well, and then we can see side by side how much they progressed and gotten better at doing bird. So this is also a very important psychological aspect. There are studies that show that a lot of social media, the comparison can be detrimental because usually only peak poses are shown, and people feel like they fall short. However, if people see the progress that people made, how even experts who are really perfect at things, how they had to progress from more shaky versions to better and better versions and practice a lot, rather than seeing videos of other people being detrimental to their self-esteem and crushing, people tend to react it by seeing, well, there's a lot of work that goes into it, and then they feel better about their progress and like feel more motivated to put in their effort. So it's actually a really great way where your class can kind of like see how everyone else is doing, and maybe they can see past classes, and they can also see progress, how students progressed. Connect. I have a demo course here. So there aren't any other students, but here you would see other students who have a public profile and who have learned the lesson. So let's say you're all in the park together, and you want to learn a specific lesson. So this is especially relevant for perhaps more advanced students. Like let's say there's this very specific skill you want to learn. You can quickly find out like who nearby in the park knows about it. Or you can search out people, or it's a great way of kind of going deep into what people know without having to talk a lot. Yeah, and that's a lesson screen and how you create lessons. Have fun with it.